one way or another. And honestly, with or without the dojo, that's something that my team is very, very passionate about. Right? So, but how do we actually do this? Right? How do we join this unique Filipino talent who's super creative, right? Very scrappy. Like we're gonna do things that even if we don't get told how to do it, we're gonna figure it out. So how do we support them? So Block Dojo, we're at an idea stage to early stage venture builder. We invest in them and then they go through a program for 3 months. And with a little bit of a slant towards Web3 and blockchain. But here's the key. We advocate for blockchain being applied to solving real world problems. Right? Because if I ask you, raise your hands if you've ever heard the word blockchain and what is the first association actually? Maybe not raise your hands. Like, just shout it out. What is the first association when you say the word blockchain? What comes to mind? Cryptocurrencies, right? What's the second thing that comes to mind? After crypto. If you hear crypto, then what's next? Maybe NFT?
DeFi.
Fintech, DeFi. I think the worst word association that I've heard is probably a scam, right? So, I think blockchain has a lot of potential, or Web3, there's a lot of terms to it now, in solving real world problems. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So we're a UK-based venture builder. Like I said, it's been a year when we launched in the Philippines last year. We're now in our second cohort. And this is a celebration for what the whole team and the whole ecosystem has allowed us to grow in just that 1 year, right? We're like a seed that was planted last year, and the rest of the ecosystem, graced us with their sunlight and water and minerals, and now we're still alive. So thank you very much for that. We have incubated so far 71 companies to date, right? And hopefully more, and in the Philippines we have incubated about 9 companies. Our track record so far from an investment point of view, we've already 11x our invested capital, but mind you, okay, obviously when we say that, a lot of VCs are here and they would know that if you haven't cashed it out, it's probably still on paper. So yes, these are still on paper value. But actually what I want to demonstrate to you is that because of this appreciation, there is a little bit of grace in investing in idea stage startups, right? It's not always a lost cause just because it's risky. It is something that is worth investing in. Now, I wouldn't be here today. I know there's always the MD or the CEO speaking in front, but honestly, I'm only the voice of a much bigger team behind me. So I just want to give big thanks to my team because you don't know the blood, sweat, and tears of making this demo day possible if not for the team. So actually, the Block Dojo Philippines team is here. Please, they're about there. Alea, Nick, Timo, Alu, Gladys, JK, where's Tristan? Yeah. Where's Via? They're all over here, right? And then much more, a lot of our supporters, our consultants in the program. Justin is actually one of them, he's one of our coaches. Attorney Johnson is one of our legal advisors, finance coaches. So it's always a team effort, right? Even though later you're gonna see them pitch in front, alone, there's a whole village behind them, right? If I could just kind of steal from Startup Village, it does take a village to grow a startup, right? And in the Philippines, yung usong stories like in the US where they say, it's a garage picture, and then people are hustling there. Well, in the Philippines, most people don't even have a garage, right? So I love what Carlos Lehman said about that, and I think our version of the garage is actually our community, right? That is our garage. Because if you have people around you and they support you, you can make it happen. Now, I think the other thing, because of idea stage, like I said, there's a lot of risks. I think one of the methodologies that we really live by, is that ideas are only as robust if they're battle tested with insight, right? If you go out there in the market and then you ask real people, is this a real problem? Because who here thinks they have a great business idea? Raise your hand if you think you have a great business idea. Only a few people. Now, if I ask you what makes you think you have a great business idea, are you the expert of that idea? Yes or no? Now, the truth of the matter is, I am not the expert, and I would dare to say even you're not the expert of that idea. Because the only expert of that idea is the market. So I think a lot of times there was a big boom back in Silicon Valley, like a decade plus ago, wherein let's just build something and let the users come, let's grow it, and let's get VC money, and if we die, it's their risk. Right? But actually, because of the economic recession, a lot of that model is like not anymore becoming viable. We want to make sure from the very beginning, are you set up with the right fundamentals? And the only way to do that is to get as much validation out there in the market. Now we do this, basically this is a 3-month program where the whole first month is just validating that problem with the market. Right? Do your customer discovery, talk to people, and see, maybe your idea is actually not exactly what you thought of, and maybe it's something else. Right? And that's the beauty of the startup journey. It's never what your first idea is. So let me tell you something about, and then obviously after that, like you go through your solutioning where not only we're building the product, but your financial model, you go to market, and eventually we prepare you to become investment ready. Now, let me kind of do it in a slightly playful way of how do we exactly execute this in the dojo. So it's not a normal 3-month program, so we call it the dojo way. And the first belief why it's called Block Dojo is that entrepreneurship is a contact sport. What does it mean? It means that you need that contact with potential users, potential customers, with your teammates, with potential investors, and by getting into contact with them, you get real feedback whether your idea actually matters. And like the dojo, like that analogy, I'm going to extend this analogy and milk this as much as I can. The best way to learn martial arts is learning by doing. You get a sensei who teaches you a little bit the form, right? And after that, you repeat that over and over, and they'll give you the feedback. Is it as per the form of the way it should be done? Because for us, it's not, when we say master classes, it's not sitting in a classroom and having a lecturer tell you this is how you should do it. It's a much more output-oriented where do it, and then we give you feedback, and we do it over and over again, and let's test it out in the market. Right? That's the way we want to do it. And then like martial arts, there are different learning styles, or different martial arts. There's karate, there's taekwondo, right? In startup world, there's different industries, right? You could be in agri-tech, you could be in fintech, you could be, in fashion maybe. There's a lot of like industries, right? But what we've also learned, even though we can celebrate different styles, different founders, is that the fundamentals are always the same. The fundamentals are always the same. Because once you realize that there's a pattern of the way business grows, the same way a human being is like a fetus, then a baby, then a toddler, right? then a teenager, adolescent, then an adult, companies are the same, right? An idea, then eventually you get maybe a team, and then maybe the team turns into a bigger team, and then an organization, and then eventually you're maybe going global and disrupting the world and becoming a unicorn maybe. Right? And then the other thing that we're really, really proud of is that by going through this process of over and over getting feedback, you get clarity. Once you get clarity, you know exactly what needs to be done. I think this is something that we also kind of borrow from the dojo is that what is the moral code that you uphold in the way you execute that business, right? How are you going to win there, but at the same time, how are you going to win in an ethical manner? Because it is a fight, right? Like the dojo, being an entrepreneur is like being a fighter, right? But I guess most importantly, coming to the dojo, and hopefully the people who have interacted with us, or what the dojo means is that the dojo is a community space. And that's why we're all here today. We want to celebrate this community who has been there for people who have dreams and wanting to turn that vision into reality. And later we're going to see our founders from cohort 2 to show what is their vision of the future and how are they going to make it reality. Now, before I close, I guess there's an elephant question in the room, a big elephant question in the room. Actually, why blockchain? Right? Let me go back to that. And why now? If you're familiar with the Gartner hype curve, right? A lot of technologies go through this curve and people are very, very excited for a while, and then people get disappointed because it's not the way they expected it. And then eventually after that, it becomes like normal, and then you get to start to use that technology. Now I'm excited to say that blockchain is finally getting past the hype curve, and we're finally getting to the point that, okay, where do we actually use blockchain? Now it's not so immediate, because you'll notice in some of our startups later that some of them are very native blockchain solutions, because that's really how they solve the problem. Some of them is just like a data layer, like a cloud technology being put there, and then helping them in a more secure, right, stable, secure, safe instant transactions. That's maybe the way they're using blockchain. But if you're wondering still, at year 2024, what blockchain really is, let me demonstrate to you in one way, the way I understand blockchain and the way I promote it to people. So think about trust and control, right? If I want to get something done, and let's say I'm working with Mr. General Chen over here, right? And let's say I give him, let's say, 1,000 pesos, and say, Jer, I give you 1,000 pesos. Can you please give it back to me later? I'm just going to go to the bathroom and you give it back to me later. Now I have two options. If I want to control and make sure this happens, maybe I'll go to Rene and say, hey, Rene, can you please make sure that Jer gives me back the 1,000 pesos later? So now, Rene is my mechanism of control to give back the 1,000 pesos to me. And maybe he charges me a fee, sure, yeah. Like a proper investor will charge me a fee for making that service. But that's a control mechanism. The other way, and maybe we even put a contract on it to make sure, and then we put a key, maybe you put like a vault and then put a key there, and then I get the 1,000 pesos back. I know it's exaggerated. Why am I doing all this trouble for 1,000 pesos? Right? The other way would be to trust Jer and say, okay, here's 1,000 pesos, and just give it back to me later. Now, what is the downside of trust? Well, maybe Jer doesn't feel good today, and he's not very trustworthy today because he's in a bad mood, and then actually he just runs away with the money. Or actually, generally he forgets. Maybe he misplaced it and he lost the money. Now, control, I had to involve another party, or I had to do an extra step just to make sure that he returns the 1,000 pesos to me. Right? So this is the trade-off between trust and control. I give you trust, but I'm not very sure if I can get it back. And control, I have to add a little bit of effort to get it back. So, why does this matter? Because what is in the middle of trust and control? What is one word would you say is in the middle of trust and control? Proof is the middle of trust and control. So blockchain is actually the technology of proof. What does that mean? Because with proof, trust is implied. I no longer need to rely on trust because it's already there. I have proof that it happened. And control is obsolete because I no longer need to make sure that it will actually come back. So blockchain is the technology of proof. This is why it makes things more secure, more stable, more scalable, because you have that proof. Right? And speaking of proof, I have 6 founders to show you, 6 startups to show you, where they're going to prove to you what they have done in the last 3 months. And they're so excited to celebrate with you what is this proof of concept that they've actually tried to prove or maybe proven in the market. And we're so excited to show them to you today. And with that, before we introduce them, I kind of want to give you a snippet of what they experienced in the first week of the program through our bootcamp. So, can we show that video, please, of the bootcamp?
Dojo Philippines is back in Bataan for a bootcamp, this time with a new set of cohorts. In the next 5 days, founders will learn from industry experts, undergo training, and have a little fun at the same time. And we at Point Geek are here to see it happen.
Dojo, now on its second run in the Philippines, has a renewed focus, preparing founders for investment opportunities right from the start.
By the end of the program, we want them to be investment ready. We're pushing them to get some commitments early, either letters of intent, pre-orders, etc. So we're baking that into the program this early.
This cohort stands out for its inclusivity and global potential, positioned to influence not only the Philippines, but the world.
I think this time around, the great thing about our cohort is that it's a more diverse set they can impact and change, I think, the Philippine landscape more and more. I think another key input that we have here is we're not just looking at, I guess, startups that can impact the Philippines, but are actually globally ready when it comes to their ideas.
At the bootcamp, we learned about the 6 innovative startups. PetalPass, revolutionizing pet ownership with a digital registry and loyalty platform. Upraised, offering investors access to rental income through property renovation funding. Con King, simplifying event parking with a mobile reservation app for seamless experiences. Willow, connecting high school students with mental health support from professionals. Fit Together, inspiring fitness enthusiasts with challenges, rewards, and charitable contributions. Certified, a blockchain-based certification platform in collaboration with top universities. The bootcamp aims to address the founders' needs and challenges.
We actually particularly designed the bootcamp to be filled with a lot of master classes and introductions to what they're actually going to be doing in the program. So each day would have a theme, like for example, the first day would be all about the founder. I think it's very important for us to start out the whole program with clarity in terms of what the founder needs and wants towards the program. And then of course, we dive into some of the problems that they encounter, the problems that they try to solve with the business and such.
I saw that all of the problems that we're trying to solve is real-world problems that is quite relatable, particularly with us. So I'm excited, and we are excited to see the progress that these companies that will be making during the next few months.
With its new founders and insights, Dojo Philippines hopes to make its mark as an innovative startup accelerator in the country. I'm Claire Saldan for PointGeek.com.
Awesome. Alright, so by the way, a lot of those ideas have really evolved in 3 months, so you might actually see some of different pitches in a different form, and that's really what I'm trying to say all the time. You come with an idea, it's probably not going to be the same in 3 months. Like your vision might stay the same, but actually the way it's going to manifest is going to be different. Now to close, speaking of vision, I want to invite everyone to stand up. And I want to do this very quick exercise to you in the power of vision and how we're going to manifest this for our startup today. So, I want you to stand on one leg and see how easy it is for you to do this in like 15 seconds. See if it's like something that you can easily achieve in one leg. I'm so sorry for the ones wearing heels. It might not be an easy exercise. Okay? Relatively easy, yeah? Okay, let's do this again, but now stand on one leg but close your eyes. And tell me after 15 seconds, you have to keep your eyes closed and not open it for 15 seconds with one foot on the ground. Can you guys do it? No? Was it hard, yeah? And that's really the point. Because somehow our body is wired to rely on vision for a sense of balance. But what does it mean? Without a vision, you will fall down. Without a vision, you will fall down. So thank you very much, everyone, and let's hear the vision of the 6 startups today, and let's make them and support them into becoming a reality. Thank you, everyone.